So friends, this past Sunday, I got an email from this nice lady named Helen, and she was with Great Star Industries, and she started to tell me about how they have a new knife that they created, and they're selling on Amazon, and wanted to know if I would be interested in checking it out and doing a review. I said, sure, send it on over. I only have one stipulation, and that is after I do the review, I'm going to give it to one of my subscribers. And she says, well, I think that is a great idea. So that was Sunday. Today's Tuesday, Veterans Day, and this was in my mailbox already. So she got it to me within 2 days. I think that's pretty incredible. All right. So before we start, let's go ahead and look at the box here. Pretty simple box they sent us. And there's the name. I guess it's pronounced Flissa, maybe Flissa. I'm not sure. Flissa. There's the part number right there. And then there's the description. 4.5 inch green G10 handle, fast opening, folding knife, new. And this is made in China. Okay? Like a lot of our budget knives. You're going to find this budget knife comes in a lot cheaper than a lot of the other budget knives I talked about. Does that make it cheaper? I'm not sure. We're going to check it out. So let's go ahead and start by doing a nice up close and personal overview of this knife. As you can see, we got some green, dark green G10 handles. They have a slight texture to them. There's our fasteners. I believe they are Torx. Okay, it's hard for my eyes to pick up, but we'll check out, see what size those are later in the video. Also notice large pivot point there, and this is a button lock, and it also has a flipper. Look at the back here. It is skeletonized, as you can see through there, but we do have a back spacer here, and for whatever reason they have that back spacer. Looks like it's protruding a little bit, and then they gave us a lanyard hole right here for those that need it. Alright, blade nestles down into the handles, nice and deep, doesn't protrude much at all. And here's the flipper. So let's go ahead and well, before we open it up, let's look at this pocket clip. Alright, so nice long pocket clip. I appreciate a nice long pocket clip, but it is not a deep carry. Now, I generally prefer a deep carry pocket clip like this, but I do understand that some people prefer this style because when it's down in your pocket, it's down in your pocket like that, you can still get a hold of it if that's how you grab your knife. Pocket clip like this is going to put the knife so far down in your pocket, there's nothing to grab here. You're going to have to reach in and grab the knife like that and pull it out. So some people prefer a work knife to have some protrusion like that. And I think that's why you see like this Gonzo knife, it's like that. A lot of your work knives, here's the Kershaw leak. It's got the same kind of clip. And I don't know. You know, just even their factory Spydercos are not super deep carry. But that's the pocket clip that's on it. And I like the fact that it's nice and long. They didn't go super short. Okay, because that's annoying. You need a little bit of leverage to allow it to get over the lip of your pocket without being overly tight and tear up your pants. So I think this is a pretty decent pocket clip. No problem there. Alright, so here we go. Let's check out opening the knife. We have two options. We have a button lock and a flipper, but let's just go ahead and start with a flipper and see how it does. Okay, not too bad for a dry knife right out of the box. There's our blade. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. So we have a drop point blade. It's got a little bit of a swedge right there. We have some nice jimping. Let's get that focused in right there. So we got some jimping on there. It's fairly smooth jimping. It's not super aggressive. I would say it, here's a pair of two. Let's see. Okay, so it's not as aggressive as the pair of two. It's finer than that. I don't think any of these other knives. Okay. So the Sage 5 or Sage 6, as I say, it's probably similar in the jimping texture. All right. And this is a button lock as well. And of course, this is a coated blade, and it's pretty much a flat grind. It's not a hollow grind, it's flat, with a little bit of a landing here. And this is an D2 blade steel. So, alright, so let's go ahead and check out the button lock. Alright. So the lock is placed in a good place. Okay, drop pretty easy. Okay, it's a little sticky, but you know, most button locks, when they're brand new, they are a little sticky. You have to wear them in a little bit. You got no thumb stud, so either you're going to flip it or you're going to fling it out with that button lock. So my initial impressions on this knife is that the fit and finish is pretty outstanding for this price point. You get a great job. All the fasteners are flush. I don't feel any real hot spots or anything on it. The action feels good and natural. I think you know, some knives the flipper can be in the wrong position, but this one feels great and natural. I love the way the handle fits my 2 extra large hand. I mean, look at that. I got plenty of real estate hanging off the end there. And they really placed this little choil right here on the handle perfectly to fit between my fingers like that. If I want to choke up on that blade, you know, I can do that. Get my thumb out there. And I'm still away from the sharpened edge, because it's got a pretty nice size sharpening choil right there. If you can see that. See it right there? Other than that, if I want to get up on that blade, it really is. It's a good shaped blade. I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. Like I said, flat grind. Fairly slender, you know. Got enough spine to it. Let's go ahead and get a few specs on this knife real quick. Alright, so here's our blade. I'd say it's about 3 1/4 inches. Our handle is going to be coming in at pretty much 4 1/2 if you include that little bit sticking out the end for that lanyard hole. We have a thickness of right at a 1/2 inch. Alright, while we're at it, let's just go ahead and check out their button lock here in the back. Okay. This is how theirs is working. Hopefully that stays in focus and makes a good video. But as you can see, it's rock solid lockup. Yeah, that is a pretty nice knife for that price point. Can't say anything bad about that. Alright, so how sharp is this thing out of the box? Well, let's check it out. Alright, here's just a piece of paper. Alright. Okay. You know, it's not the sharpest thing. Okay, it does have a good edge. Let's do that again. Let's just go ahead and get started and work our way. Okay, so definitely got something good started there. Maybe if we just give it a couple hones real quick. See if we can Get that thing feeling just a little bit better. I just got a little bit of diamond paste on here. I'm just dragging it, not pushing down. It's more of a drag than a push. Alright, if we push down into that leather, we will round the edge off instead of creating an apex like we want. Alright, I don't know if that's going to do any good or not. Let's see. Alright. Yeah. It's better. It is better. Look at that. Okay, if you don't have a hone, you need to get one, because you can see the difference that makes. Huh? Is that not a huge difference? Okay, you can still tell it's got a little spot in there. What I could do is just take my fingernail and go along and try to find it and maybe dress it up. It's just got a little bit of probably some of the sharpening burr that's left on there from manufacturing. I could probably spend a little more time on that hone and get rid of that and get this D2 blade steel super sharp. Let's go ahead and clear some of this junk out of the way and see how it looks next to some other knives. Alright, so here's the Buck 744 Sovereign. Alright, it's a little bit bigger knife than that. And but you know, they're both button locks. They're both made in China, even though this one's got the Buck name on it. This one runs about $49. And we already said this one is coming in at $18.99. So $19. Oh, I'm sorry. This is $39. Okay, $39, $18.99. All right, we got the Gonzo. This is another budget knife, kind of a pair of two tribute. That knife is a little bit bigger. I think this has got a 3.5 inch blade instead of a 3.25 inch blade. Okay, but this Flissa knife has just as much, if not a little bit more belly. Well, about the same. Got the same belly to the blade and the same length cutting edge. Look at that. Cutting edges are about, look how identical that are. Isn't that amazing? Look at this. I'll put those next to each other. I'm going to try to get them as close as I can. Alright. Look at that. They're almost identical. They're almost identical in the edge, length, and shape. Incredible, huh? I don't know how that happened. But anyway, the Gonzo is $21.95, $22. So you can get this one a little bit lighter. I'd say, what do I think? And this is a button lock. Okay, some people like the button lock better. And this one here is a, oh, this is an axis lock. What am I thinking? I'm sitting there looking for a liner lock, and I got the camera in my face, but this is a crossbar lock. I'm sorry, not axis lock, crossbar lock. All right. So some people like the crossbar, some people like the button lock, but this is $3 more than that one. Blade's wider up here, but most of that is the opening hole. And this one's got a flipper. So that's two budget knives you can chew, but this is still cheaper. Spitfire by Buck. Okay, pretty much the same size. Spitfire's a little narrower. I would say I probably like the steel on the Buck a little bit better than the D2 steel. I don't have to worry about rust or anything like that. The Buck also has a hollow grind. I really like a hollow grind that Buck does. I really like this knife, but this knife is $49. So $30 more than this Flissa. So Flissa is coming in a pretty good deal. Here's the Kershaw Leak. Okay, comes in bigger than a Leak. And these things are running $65 now. So over 3 times as much as this knife. And I really don't have any other budget knives. And here's the Spyderco Pair 2. You can see the comparison there. So my overall first impressions of this knife is it a very high quality budget knife that comes with good steel. It comes with an edge that is pretty sharp. Let's see how we do on the shaving the hair off my arm test. Look at that. Took that hair right off, okay? D2 steel. It's a solid choice as long as you keep it coated, keep it from rusting. Easy to clean out. G10. You know, they're not the grippiest, but they're not super smooth. And you got a button lock. Looks like a pretty solid lock. Decent pocket clip right out the door. And you got fasteners so you can disassemble the knife and clean it out and do whatever you want. So I think this knife is a winner. Tell me what you think in the comments. Alright, and if you want to win this knife, go ahead and pick a number from I think we're going to have to do 6,000 because we're getting a lot of subscribers. So I'm going to write a number on this piece of paper right here. Okay? And give it about a week or two. This is Tuesday. I'm going to let it run through this week and through this weekend. And the following week, the weekend before Thanksgiving, I'll go ahead and check the comment section and see whose number comes the closest to the number I'm fixing to write down on this. And as long as you're 18, it's legal for you to own a knife. I will send this one out to you free of charge. I think that's a pretty good deal. The only thing we ask is you follow up and tell us what you think about the knife after you use it for a while. I think it is an excellent knife for under $20. I think this is a winner. If I didn't have this one sitting here right now, I would go ahead and order one. And if Helen, if you're listening, send us some more knives. We want to see some more of these because I think you're really onto something. I think this is a decent knife for the price. Alright friends, once again, thanks for watching. Y'all be safe. Pick a number. Put it in the comments. Alright, make sure you're 18 and you're legal to own a knife. And you'll be entered for a chance to win the Flissa knife. Be good.